So the big opportunity here is the fact that we've got just over 4,000 new cases of cancer every year from cigarette smoking. So, that's 4,000 cancers every year that needn't be here.
Lung cancer is a truly hideous disease, but it's also quite largely preventable if 7 out of 10 lung cancers are related to smoking.
We've got real life proof of the harm of smoking coming into our clinics week after week after week. Today I have seen, in just this afternoon, 6 patients with lung cancer, all of whom have smoked in the past.
The view that I have is that we're looking for a tobacco-free future, not necessarily a nicotine-free future. Everybody has to judge it based on what they think will keep them away from smoking.
Cigarettes themselves contain about 6,000 different dangerous chemicals. And if we think about that, there isn't much that we would put into our body that contains 6,000 chemicals.
We've been following the evidence for some time, and what's increasingly clear is that vaping is far less harmful than smoking.
To switch your smoking fully to using an e-cigarette is a dramatic change in what you're doing to your body in terms of harm that you're taking on board.
I see it as a major innovation in the tobacco and nicotine field that will ultimately render cigarettes obsolete.
I train GPs up, and we don't really talk about vaping as an entity in itself. We talk about how we can support our patients in stopping smoking.
All the evidence, all the research points to this. It's not a new piece of information. We've known this for a few years, and I think we'll look back in the future and think, why didn't people switch to vaping sooner?
It's supposed to be a substitute for tobacco, but I think it's probably as bad as tobacco.
People say it's healthier than smoking, which it probably is, but then no one knows the long-term effects of it.
All smoking's harmful, to be fair, so it will have its side effects, yeah?
Maybe it's good for health, maybe. Because we're not quite sure about this, we never listen about this, and we don't have any proof.
Don't know the long-term effects of it, but it seems better than smoking.
I think it's an unproved product, really.
The first modern vaping device was produced in 2003. Today, the global market is estimated to be worth over £15 billion. Many people think vaping was invented by major tobacco companies, but the innovation came from one man who was looking for a better way to quit smoking: Chinese pharmacist Hon Lik. After becoming a heavy smoker, Hon Lik decided to kick the habit to avoid the same fate that met his father, who died from smoking-related illness. At the time, quitting methods were limited, and he'd been using high-dosage nicotine patches to help him quit. The realization hit him that nicotine replacement therapy couldn't provide the same nicotine rush, and he began his search for an alternative. He set about using traditional Chinese remedies, including ginseng and deer antler pill, before the revelation came to him. Hon had vivid nightmares one night, when he went to sleep forgetting to remove the nicotine patch he'd been wearing on his stomach. He dreamed he was drowning in a giant cloud of vapor, and says the nightmare inspired him to create a nicotine product that produced vaporized liquid instead of smoke. His concept became the idea behind the modern vaping device. It was one that was to prove controversial, sparking health warnings, polarizing opinions, and ultimately creating a culture of mistrust. But what was fueling the fears?
Myths and misconceptions come from all sorts of different sources.
Well, the first of the myths about vaping that is really, really tragic is that people say it's just as bad for you as smoking. And something like a third of smokers in the UK actually believe that. It's absolutely not the truth.
But one myth is that we don't know anything. We don't know anything about them. We don't know what's in them. And that's a really common myth. Now, e-cigarettes are possibly one of the most heavily researched innovations of our time.
Public perceptions are getting more and more out of kilter with the evidence. So people are thinking more and more that e-cigarettes are harmful.
Well, there are so many myths about vaping. I mean, the list just goes on and on.
Swapping one addiction for another.
Nobody knows what's in it.
Popcorn lung.
Gateway to smoking.
Secondhand vaping is very harmful.
Youth epidemic.
Heart attacks, COPD. The list goes on and on and on. And when you get to the bottom of it, you excavate the science, you'll find there's nothing there.
I've heard the experts compare the risk of smoking cigarettes as being like jumping out the 16th floor of a building compared to using an e-cigarette, which is like, you know, jumping off the step at the bottom of the building. So it's not like a zero risk activity, but if you had to choose which you were going to do, you'd probably jump off the bottom step.
Scientists have shown the best thing a smoker can do for their health is to stop smoking completely. But many people find it difficult to quit in one step. Smoking delivers nicotine very quickly to the brain, making it highly addictive. But most health problems are caused by other components in tobacco smoke. Using a licensed vaping product containing nicotine is an effective way of reducing the harm from tobacco. And because you can reduce the amount of nicotine delivered, it helps smokers quit for good.
There are certainly members or groups in the health economy, if you like, that want to see the complete eradication of the use of nicotine. But you've also got the media who love a bad news story.
Sensationalism is the game now, and even the supposedly respectable journals do this, and they all have their own way of doing. If it's the Guardian, it's an industry conspiracy. If it's the Telegraph or Mail, it's some kind of horrendous health effect.
They sell their papers, they get you to click onto their websites, buy a shocking headline, and e-cigarettes help smokers to quit. Doesn't work.
Whether the public can trust what they're reading on vaping really depends on what they're reading. Some journalists and outlets do this really well, some don't.
I think talking about media portrayals of anything is probably rather difficult at the moment. We are absolutely living in a post-truth age.
You can't stop the deluge of misinformation coming across the Atlantic. It gets picked up by our journalists, our news outlets. People read American publications. Just can't stop it.
I think that if you're getting your news free on the internet and you're expecting balanced health reporting, then I think you're always going to be disappointed.
It's one of those kind of health stories where people have a strong opinion one way or a strong opinion the other way. And I guess what comes over in the media is really the opinion of the person they're asking at that time.
For years, the media has shared worrying stories about vaping. But what evidence are these stories based on? Public Health England disputes many of the stories and the science that prompts them. The government body wants smokers to switch to vaping products to help them quit combustible cigarettes. In late 2018, they released this film to present the dangers of smoking compared to vaping.
And what we are going to do is we are going to have one bell jar set up to smoke the average number of cigarettes smoked by a smoker each month. That's over 300 cigarettes. And then we have another bell jar through which we draw vapor from an e-cigarette for the same amount of time. And then, as a control condition, we have clear air to demonstrate not smoking or vaping. And here we have the bell jar through which we had 300 cigarettes smoked.
I mean, it just is so revolting. Look at this, that's just the inside of the jar. Here, a lump of tar. So that's what's going on inside your lungs. And now we're going to cut this tube. And look at that. There's loads of it. And this is only after 1 month. So is this what's happening inside our bodies when we smoke?
It's certainly a good indication. So now let's have a look at the e-cigarette.
Let's just see. A little bit of vapour, water vapour. That's the only one that's really got much in the way of colour. Just feels wet.
My research shows that e-cigarettes are significantly less harmful than cigarettes, as this experiment shows.
Only a few months after the film was released, a photo taken by an American teen went viral as she launched a campaign to stop vaping. Seema Herman posted a photo of herself on social media from her hospital bed after waking from a medically induced coma. She had been treated for pneumonia and lung failure. Vaping hit the headlines and created a health scare as thousands of cases like Seema's emerged in America and made the world news.
There's an urgent health concern tonight in the vaping crisis.
Healthy Texas teenagers suddenly unable to breathe.
The CDC is looking into more than 450 cases of illnesses potentially linked to vaping.
But investigators looking into the links between vaping and lung damage in the US found a black market at work.
There was a huge amount of interest during 2019 in vaping-related lung injury, particularly in the US.
So recently, we had the Avali, the lung injury cases that were in the US. And early on, and unfortunately still now, they were attributed to e-cigarettes.
And it came out of the blue, and it hadn't been there for long periods, and then over a very short period of time it was.
Several of the United States had decriminalised or actually legalised and licensed cannabis products. Most of those cannabis products contain THC.
And of course it did cause lung injury because it was cut with something called vitamin E acetate.
And we saw reporting about thousands of injuries and 60 deaths, and that was seen as a vaping story, not as a sort of tainted product story.
Patients were saying, no, I never vaped anything like that, I was only using nicotine, is because the insurance system in the United States wouldn't allow a claim if they said that they were using an illicit substance.
That wasn't inconsequential. So we did see highly publicised negative scare stories, vapes causing lung injury, vapes causing death.
We didn't see the same thing in the UK at all.
The media storm that followed this did not distinguish the difference between cannabis-containing products, which had THC in them, and vaping products, which people were using to give up nicotine. And that conflation of the two products meant that vaping got a very, very bad press in the USA. And the US independent vape sector was pretty well destroyed by what followed.
Public perception of e-cigarettes before and after, actually, people's perceptions of e-cigarettes did get worse.
The knock-ons in the UK was that we stopped seeing new customers.
It is very unfortunate. I think it will just take time for people to become a little bit more confident that actually these products are really well regulated in Britain, and that what was being smoked in America was something quite different.
So one of the myths that we hear is that they're not regulated, that it's a Wild West, and actually e-cigarettes are regulated.
The limit to strengths, limit to bottle size, what has to be on the outside of the package, what's inside the bottle as well.
The most important of the regulations in terms of protecting vapers are to make sure that e-liquids are properly produced.
In this country, we've got very, very good and safe regulations.
Any ingredient has been toxicologically screened for its suitability for inhalation, that the nicotine that's used in the products is suitable for human consumption, because not all nicotine is, and that everything else within the e-liquid meets those kind of standards.
We need to get this into public consciousness that, like all products, there is an illicit market or a black market. There are lower quality products. We find this across, all products. It's not something that's exclusive to e-cigarettes.
Despite strict UK regulation and backing from leading health experts, vaping has struggled to improve its reputation. In 2017, tobacco giant Philip Morris International set up the Foundation for a Smoke-Free World, pledging $1 billion to research vaping and other smoking alternatives. However, in 2019, former New York Mayor Michael Bloomberg launched a $160 million campaign to tackle vaping. In 2020, it appeared he was winning the battle when the World Health Organization warned vaping could be harmful to health, especially for teens. Are ordinary smokers the casualties of a clash between morals and money, making the truth harder to find?
So this organisation called Foundation for a Smoke-Free World, and they have been set up fully funded by Philip Morris International, so the makers of Marlboro. And they have a remit to do research and promote harm reduction agenda. And it's been very problematic because this is entirely funded by one of the world's biggest tobacco companies, and their agenda therefore is called into question.
Mike Bloomberg is an American billionaire, financial services tycoon, and he's set up a foundation called Bloomberg Philanthropies, which funds tobacco control around the world, and so far he's spent in excess of $1 billion.
There is a battle there, and sometimes it's about morals rather than health. And that worries me, that if people take a moralistic stance on nicotine, then they are denying people who actually need to stop smoking a way out of their smoking habit.
We've proven in the UK that using nicotine, using other alternative forms of nicotine, can have a really positive impact on reducing harm and reducing the tobacco epidemic. And there are many countries in which pursuing that approach would be useful.
The problem with Mr. Bloomberg is that he's a vaping prohibitionist. He was when he had a brief run for president early in 2020, he went on the record to the New York Times saying he thought vaping products should be banned outright.
The involvement of big tobacco companies does raise people's suspicions, and rightly so. I mean, the tobacco industry has behaved appallingly.
Some authorities will say that tobacco harm reduction is a good thing because it reduces the harm from smoked tobacco. Others, like the WHO, for instance, the World Health Organization, want to ban any nicotine product that isn't actually medical.
The World Health Organization position is a difficult one to understand. The World Health Organization are very conservative. They think that for nations that ban vaping, that's a reasonable position. And they see countries like the UK that are very positive about vaping as having overstepped the mark.
Now, I have a problem with that, and many in my field do, that it's actually almost saying that if you don't quit the right way, if you don't quit our way, then don't bother quitting at all.
I think it's a position of a long history of working in tobacco control with a tobacco industry that has been working against them at times. But I think at some point they need to embrace tobacco harm reduction rather than just working on nicotine use has to be driven out completely. It doesn't. What needs to be driven out is the harm of smoking.
Cigarette smoke contains over 6,000 chemicals. At least 69 of those could cause cancer. In comparison, vaping products typically contain nicotine, propylene glycol, vegetable glycerin, and flavourings. These key ingredients have not been associated with any serious risk. The components of cigarette smoke that are harmful to our health are either absent in vapour or are present at tiny percentages compared to cigarette smoke. So why is there so much mistrust in vaping products and their contents?
Nobody's saying e-cigarettes are totally risk-free. Of course they're not. You're inhaling some chemicals into your lungs. But it's about comparing the risk to smoking. And that's the distinction that really needs to be made.
It's worth thinking about in terms of toxins that are in the vapour rather than the liquid. There are only 4 that are of interest, the principal 2 of those being formaldehyde and acetaldehyde. They appear at less than 1/100th of the level they appear in cigarette smoke.
The advantage of vaping is in harm reduction from smoking. People who do not smoke at all should not start vaping, in particular teenagers.
At the current time, at least in the UK, it looks like the young people that are vaping are also those young people that have smoked or potentially would have smoked.
We have seen no epidemic of e-cigarette use among youth in the UK.
The fact is, kids do risky things. So the question is, how risky are these things? And, how much effort should you put in to stop them?
What is important is that we balance this risk of making the products unattractive or unavailable to young people while not making the products unattractive and unavailable to some of our most disadvantaged smokers.
You've got to be careful that you don't kill the golden goose, that you put so much effort into, quotes, protecting kids from vaping, that you make it impossible for adults, so you make it difficult for adults to use vaping as an alternative to smoking.
Yorkshire Cancer Research spoke to 100 people across the county to find out what they thought about vaping. Only 56% agreed with the statement that vaping is safer than smoking. 89% think messages around the risks of vaping are unclear to the general public. More than 2 out of 5 people have seen or heard worrying news about vaping on topics such as popcorn lung, unknown long-term effects on lungs, being a gateway to smoking, harmful chemicals, and exploding devices. Only 30% think that vaping should be promoted as a stop smoking tool. And 2 out of 3 people feel that there is not enough information on vaping for smokers to make an informed decision about quitting methods. Scientists have helped us understand the dangers of cigarettes and how vaping could reduce the harms smokers do to their bodies without having to withdraw from nicotine. But there have also been well-publicised studies that suggest vaping is harmful to health. How valid are these studies? And are they misleading people into believing vaping may be more harmful than it is?
I do worry that, there are very listened to policymakers, scientists, physicians who are very anti and who are doing everything they can to actually shut down the tobacco harm reduction alternatives.
Some people who are almost evangelists against e-cigarette use and will pick up on any health story that shows they might be harmful.
The media scare stories are just that. They're just scare stories.
They are the final link in a chain of irresponsibility that starts with the research community constantly exaggerating and spinning its findings to create sensational stories. The researchers want this news coverage, gets them notoriety, and it helps them to get grants.
There are studies that almost seem to be designed to show harms.
Sometimes there will be a paper, for example, where e-cigarette smoke is blown on some cells in a petri dish.
Zebrafish embryos or something like that. Put them in a petri dish, douse them with a load of nicotine liquid, and, strangely find that they don't do ever so well.
That's extrapolated from a kind of basic science experiment to a kind of health message. You shouldn't use e-cigarettes because, look, we've done this.
They probably wouldn't do ever so well if you put chilli sauce in either. But, people are quite happy to use chilli sauce.
Here in the UK, we're very blessed. And there's some really good, rigorous research looking at how e-cigarettes can help people to quit smoking, different kinds of smokers.
We've got, in Britain anyway, we have particularly good scientists who I think understand this area well. They understand the benefits. They're not paralysed by relatively minor or inconsequential risks, but they're seized by the opportunities, and that's a good thing.
Smoking costs the NHS millions and millions of pounds every year through illness and disability. If vaping helps someone to come off cigarettes and eventually stop vaping in the long run as well, I think vaping is a viable option for NHS smoking cessation services.
Stopping smoking historically has been a difficult thing to do because we're dealing with an addiction. And by that very definition, sometimes they are very difficult to give up.
It becomes this ritual and people feel this pleasure within their smoking. It's really difficult for people to imagine not having that, this small treat every day.
It's not a tug of war. These are people who, if you take them the right offer, they will bite your hand off.
Smoked 20 to 30 cigarettes a day. I was super fit. Went all over the world with the military, left the army on medical grounds after 20 years, and within probably 2 or 3 months I could hardly get up the stairs, and I knew I needed to stop smoking.
I found myself buying cigs over other things, food, stuff like that.
Fundamentally, you think you've always got the strength to stop.
The part of the reason getting into vaping was obviously mainly the kids. Even be able to run around the block with him to teach him how to ride his bike. I can do that now. With my daughter who's 8, I couldn't do it properly.
From stopping smoking and then vaping, I could run up the stairs. The change was unbelievable.
I wake up, I feel absolutely free. My breathing's 10 times better.
You know, you're affecting other people, and I think that's unfair because it's not, they should have a choice.
I'm not coughing in the morning anymore. I'm not out of breath. The edge has gone for a cigarette because I'm using the vape.
We would know in a minute if cigarettes were invented today that they would be extremely hazardous.
People say that vaping is in its infancy, but we've had it for over 10 years now, almost 20 years really, and we're not seeing long-term harm from its use.
We have got reasonably good evidence now that any harm that there may be from vaping is a very, very small amount compared to the harm of smoking real cigarettes.
It's true that we don't know what will happen in the distant future, but we can take a damn good guess because we can see the low levels of toxins that there are in vapour.
One big UK trial that compared the best combination of nicotine replacement therapy plus behavioural support with e-cigarettes plus behavioural support, so comparing the two like for like, found that e-cigarettes were about twice as effective in helping smokers to quit at about 1/5 of the price.
Vaping has offered smokers a suitable alternative for them to consume nicotine, inhale it in a much safer way.
Our hope is that people will use e-cigarettes as an aid to quitting, but eventually quit the e-cigarettes themselves. Now, some people can't do that. And if it's a choice between carrying on the e-cigarette versus going back to smoking, we would always want them on the e-cigarette.
The government has said that we want to make smoking obsolete. We want to get to a point within just a decade where people just don't smoke anymore, that smoking really is history.
You have to remember that tobacco smoking is not a reasonable amount of harm. Tobacco smoking kills more than half of the people who do it for their lifetime. That's not a reasonable harm. Pretty well anything has to be better than that.
So what are you going to do? You're already quite attached to your cigarettes. You're at a certain age, they've not killed you yet. Why switch? That is what some people tell us. Why switch?
The message is very clear. Vaping is better than smoking cigarettes.
A decision that an individual person makes to stop smoking almost certainly is the most important health decision they will make in their whole lives.
Smoking kills 200 people in Great Britain a day. It doesn't kill, vaping does not kill 200 people in the UK a day.
It's not a trivial change. It's not just like an additional new product. It will ultimately take over from the cigarette for those people who want to use nicotine.
People have been a little disappointed by the last few Public Health England reviews of e-cigarettes because essentially they keep repeating the same findings and it keeps being good news. So we keep on finding that e-cigarettes are effective to help smokers to quit, and the evidence for that builds all the time.
Most smokers want to stop, and they're looking for their door out of their addiction. And for each smoker, that door might be slightly different. And e-cigarettes provide a route out have provided a route out in this country for many thousands of people. And so it might work for you, so why not give it a go?
So the time is now, really. We're missing an opportunity if we don't encourage people to give up smoking using vaping products.
Just stop judging people that vape, and don't judge someone for maybe wanting to move over to vaping and who might not want to quit nicotine. Maybe we will come across people that will be vaping for 10 years. Now, that might not be something that a practitioner wants or recommends, but if that person feels that, well, it's that or 10 years of smoking, we have to be realistic.
The vape, it sort of like took away the addiction. It was like I was still doing something with my hand. It's like smoking, but not I'm not worried what it's doing to me. After about a year or so of stopping smoking, I was waking up in the morning and there was no phlegm, there was no coughing. I felt better in myself. I didn't feel out of breath all the time. I just felt alive, sort of thing. But I stopped smoking, I've extended my life. My dad was a smoker, my granddad was a smoker. My granddad died of emphysema. My dad died of cancer, so I was quite young. My dad was only 61. So while I was smoking, I had in my head I won't live past my 60s. But now I'm not smoking, I'm hoping 80s, 90s.
Good evening, and welcome. I hope you enjoyed that very educational and informative video. I thought I would show you in the whole entirety. I want to give Yorkshire Cancer Research a big shout out and say thank you so much for allowing us to actually show their film on the live show. So what did you think, guys?
One of the best ones I've seen.
What can you say? It blows everything that's been happening over the last few years, and even over the last few weeks, right out of the water. It's a bit to the Who and Bloomberg.
Yeah.
But let's, I mean, guys, just share the shit out of this, to be honest. Get it out there, get it to everybody. Hopefully some of our colleagues over in the States will see it as well. And let's see if their government picks it up. But let's hope, I mean, I know this is just it was Yorkshire Cancer Research, and let's hope other cancer research charities pick it up as well, and they bring out their own, and it gives us more ammunition, it gives us more weight behind what we're doing here. To try and save
I thought the first time I heard about it was actually on BBC Look North, just before I was going to work, and they didn't show the actual video, but they mentioned about they've released the video. So as soon as I got home from work, I watched the video and straight away got in touch with him to see if we could use it. Because I thought that was one of the best, well-rounded. It wasn't throwing it down your throat how good vaping is or anything like that. It was a standpoint of well-roundedness, and I thought it was absolutely fantastic.
It was absolutely brilliant, and I've just put the link to the actual page for the Vaping Demystified into chat. Go check it out, because there is some brilliant infographics on that page. So your key facts are all there, the 1 and 2 as it showed at the end of the film, the various cancers linked to smoking. But there's some cracking little articles on there, the truth about vaping, the advice and information for smokers. This is something we seem to forget sometimes. this is the reason why we do what we do, the three of us. It's not just about the vaping and the giggles. You're trying to help people get off the fags.
Yeah.
I mean, it's everybody that's involved in the vaping scene, this side of it.
Yeah.
To try and promote this, and that film is absolutely fantastic. Yeah, as I say, just try and share it as much as we possibly can. Get it out there. Get a little bit more. Hopefully, media will, more of the UK media as a whole will pick it up. Some of the gutter press that have been publishing crap for the last God knows how long will pick that up and say, well, do you know what? We have been spouting shit for the last few years. Let's take this on board and let's promote this for the good that it is doing.
I mean, let's face it, when a cancer research body is releasing videos like this, it's sort of like, it's not just some bloke that's saying, oh, vaping is brilliant. This is an official body that's saying it. And I think, honestly, the way that they portrayed it was absolutely brilliant. Really. I loved how they did the THC side of it and how that blew up in America and how it obviously didn't blow up here in the UK. It's same with you've got to protect the children and everything. They brought that subject up. But it wasn't overpowering or anything like that. It was just telling you the facts, and I thought that was I thought that was absolutely brilliant.
Well, it was nice to see that little sort of shot over the bows towards Karen and the soccer moms. Don't shoot the golden goose, which is what they've been doing. It's all right saying think of the kids. The kids shouldn't be vaping. Nobody's arguing that fact, but there's nothing that says adults have to smoke or quit with NRT. So maybe, the likes of Bloomberg and that are not the saviors of mankind they'd like to portray. There's a reason for what they're doing. Yeah. And the only people that suffer at the end of the day is us. They're not.
In more ways than one.
Exactly. We're losing loved ones, whilst he sat there raking it in, basically. Sounds a bit harsh, but that's personal opinion. I don't think it's maybe one that the other guys share, but sorry, couldn't keep that one in. But
I mean, let's face it. Unfortunately, shows like this, and there are plenty of them, as we all know, we're always seem to be on the negative side of vaping, because basically that's all there seems to ever be, is the negative side of vaping. So it was absolutely brilliant, mate. My heart was a joy of watching something that actually is the plus side, a positive message. And I honestly, I'm just over the moon with it. I really am.
Again, it's so well put together as well. When half an hour goes like that, they've got it right.
Yeah.
And again, huge thank you to Yorkshire Cancer Research for allowing us to use that footage. Shiny-itis is a killer. They didn't mention that one.
They didn't. No, they didn't.
It is. And the amount of crap we've seen about vaping recently, little nuggets like this just shine, don't they?
Oh, God, yeah. Honestly, it filled my heart with joy the first time I watched that.
It's been a breath of fresh air.
Totally.
Literally.
It has. What I found interesting was a lot of what the experts were saying on there was reflecting what the grassroots vapors have been saying for years.
Yeah.
I mentioned this to Mark before we went live. There's one section where they're talking about the longevity of vaping. Well, Mark's normally the one that pops up with that when we do get into these discussions. It was just nice to hear our opinions reflected by people in that position. Should not be able to buy products from shop owners. Shouldn't be selling products to anyone under 16. It's just not right. It's wrong. It is. It's also illegal. You know, as was stated in the film, we do have some of the strongest regulations, you know, of the countries for vaping.
Yeah, very strong.
You know, it's crazy, absolutely crazy. The people that spread the misinformation, I hope they watch this and sort of realize what a disservice they've done.
It's like what they were saying, obviously, what with the things going off in America, especially with the THC side of things, it did knock back the vaping as a whole, because people have sort of like, oh, like we've said many a time, people have read the news how dangerous vaping is, and then obviously, like they were showing, the percentage of people that are thinking that vaping is dangerous or more dangerous than smoking cigarettes is quite high.
But that's just all down to media bullshit. And I mean, and this is that is now a shining light to the general public out there to say, right, you know, that this is coming from basically an official body. It's not coming from gutter press. So let's take that on board rather than what you're reading in the Sun, the Mirror, the Mail, whatever it is.
I mean, going back to what you were saying about the people believing vaping was a harmful thing, the population statistics I've managed to find in 2019 were that there were 5.4 million residents in Yorkshire. Now, they polled 100, and 56% of those thought, you know, vaping was dangerous. If you sort of project that forwards, you're looking at 2.5 million people in Yorkshire alone. You know, obviously, if you polled the whole of Yorkshire, I'm sure the percentages would drop, because there's little pockets of us, the vaping fraternity, hiding out there. Yeah, but still, that's a mind-blowing figure.
Of course it is.
And a lot of that based on misinformation and gutter press.
Yeah. And I think actually that's the majority of where it's all coming from. Because unfortunately, good news reports don't sell papers.
Well,
and where is the majority of that coming from across the pond?
Well, yeah. And then you get the famous for 15 minutes people, such as, remember the story about the guy who was a glass blower?
Oh, yeah.
Allegedly got Ivali from vaping. No mention of the fact that they used oil in the glass blowing process, and therefore he would be breathing in high amounts of vaporized oil.
And when they actually, I mean, that was a so cleverly put piece of news, that, because when they actually reported that, it was 10 years before, not 5 years, 3 years, it was 10 years before he died. And that was before, I mean, I've been vaping now 10 years, so it had been sort of like 12 years ago when he died. So vaping at that point, when he was supposed to have started vaping, was its very infancy. The only type of tank devices that you could get hold of was like cigalikes, and you'd get your Hang Seng 70 PG in the actual devices. So it was at very early ages of the actual vaping industry. So it was a very bad. But a general person wouldn't actually go into and find the information out. They would just read that front page of first English man died of vaping.
And that's what they take away with it.
Yeah, and that's where it really grinds my gear with the media.
I don't want to start a discussion on this at all, but given the news events of this week, you would think the media would, maybe this is the point where the media sort of start thinking, hey up, maybe we have taken it a bit far. Yeah.
Well, fingers crossed, but you know what the media's like, though. It's as you said earlier on, it doesn't sell papers.
No, it doesn't. But I did note with interest that the guy in charge of basically the regulatory body for newspaper editors has actually stood down.
Really?
Yeah. But over the fallout from the royal thing. But, you know, it might be interesting, this one. We'll keep an eye on it. But I can't see the Sun printing the story about this, ever.
Yeah, maybe send them a little bloody email.
Yeah.
Check this out, you bastards. But you've got it, haven't you? So, yeah.
See,
I think it's a shame when they are demonising a product that is harm reductive. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, something that's saving lives.
Yeah. I mean, we're not talking about something that's just enjoyable. We're not talking about something that is trivial. This is a product that is harm reduction. It is lessening the harm from somebody from having a cigarette and the 6,000 chemicals that's in one to one that's got 4.
Well, as they so nicely put in the film, it's the difference between jumping off the block of flats and stepping off the step at the bottom of the flats. Yeah.
But no, my luck, I'd step off the step at the bottom of the flats and still fall my fucking face.
You're right, I can trip over a pebble, me.
I'm not bringing Jules into this one. No. I hope Mum is well tonight.
Mrs. Accident prone.
Mrs. Bump. Yep.
It's like I said earlier on, I'm proud to be a vapor. I really genuinely am. I mean, it's why I've been doing this for over 5 years. I am proud to be a vapor, and I want to share that with other people. That's the whole reason why I started all this. It was so like, because this is harm reduction. This is going to make me live just a little bit longer. Unless a bus gets me or something like that. Do you know what I mean? Instead of
puffing away on his clutch, didn't see the 97 whack.
I found something that don't make me stink horrible. For starters, it's made me so I can blooming breathe. I'm not coughing my lungs up first thing in the morning. I can run about now. And it's so like
no yellow fingers.
What's this running you speak of?
I think I was 12 the last time I did that.
I think I just nearly got caught the last time I did that.
Awesome, Bronco. Bronco says he started smoking at 15. I quit at the age of 56, been 4 years smoke-free, and I feel like I'm in my 30s again.
Well, there was a lovely one from Arnie. Said he smoked for 45 plus years, been vaping for 6. Vaping's the only thing that's worked for him. And a lot of it is to do with the mechanics of vaping. You've got that hand-to-mouth action, which is satisfying the need for that. You know, you can find a vape device to suit anybody's vaping tastes pretty much.
And pocket.
Yeah, and pocket. The pod systems, as much as I hate the fact that they've homogenized everything, and there's a big word. Made everything the same.
Did you say that then? Fucking confused. See, you got me swearing now. You confused me with big words. I need to go and get a thesaurus out to find out what the fuck that actually means. Spell it.
Homogenized? No. No, not on camera. No.
Is that not what they do with milk and cheese with that?
Yeah.
Fats and shit. Is that the same? No.
Yeah.
I think it's something else.
That's pasteurized.
Pasteurized?
Pasteurized. That's what they do with milk and cheese.
No, homogenized fat or some shit. What that? Is that the same stuff? No. Why'd you sit here and shut the fuck up?
I'm not spelling it. I don't care. No, I mean, it's The pods for me are a bane because they have, and the AIOs to some extent, they've taken a lot of the differences away.
Yeah, but also you've got to look at it another way. Sorry to interrupt you, Betty. Got to look at it another way. We are hobbyists. We get bored with it because it's the same old, same old, same old.
That's what I was going to fucking say.
But for the purpose of a person that's just wanting to vape, they are perfect. Go back.
No, can I correct you just for a second? Not for somebody who wants to vape, someone who wants to give up smoking. Carry on, Mark.
You go back 10 years ago and how difficult it was to actually start vaping.
True. Very true.
And look, once you actually got your device to actually to start vaping, look what you had to do to start vaping. Whereas now on your pod systems and your AIO systems, it's near on the same as going into a shop, buying a packet of cigarettes, taking it out of the packet, lighting it and smoking it. It's virtually identical now. You get your pod system, you put your coil in it, your juice in it, you vape it.
Yeah, no, fair point. Fair point.
See, unfortunately, we're the minority. We're the hobbyists. We like fiddling and playing with stuff and
spending money.
And spending lots of money.
Fiddling and playing with stuff, eh?
That's why I wear glasses, because I'm going blind. I'd like to do it.
Oh.
I mean, and the other side of that is the community side of things. You know, for us as the hobbyists, we wouldn't have this if it wasn't for vaping. But the main reason for vaping being there was to save lives, and hopefully the message is going to get across now with that video now being in general population. If you want to put it like that, fingers crossed.
Indeed you did, Gailey. Lovely to see you.
Uggles.
Hold on. Oh shit, no, wait a minute. I can't. Where's my thing? I need to mute.
Oh God, he's been at it all night.
Just hope to God the dog's not in there.
As a fart got lumps.
Betty, this is the point where we can play Mr. and Mrs. now. Betty, do you do the washing?
What washing?
You know, clothes washing.
No.
Jules, I do feel sorry for you tonight, love.
Why?
He's not stopped farting. The state of them pants.
No. It's only gas. There's no mud behind it. I don't need to scrape the pants when I put them away. Anyway, I'm not wearing any. I'm just sitting right on the vinyl so it wipes off.
Please.
Has he froze?
I don't think he has.
Oh dear.
Oh, he's back.
He's back.
Oh, you froze as well.
No, we were fine. It was just you that froze.
No, you froze on my screen.
Just do a double check. Yeah.
Oh, my internet connection is unstable apparently.
Sorry.
My internet connection is unstable. That would be probably due to the damn weather.
Yeah, the wind's terrible.
Inside and out. There's another reason why to not stop smoking and start vaping, because don't light a naked flame in this room. You'll probably hear the explosion in Yorkshire for here.
I think Bill said that you're trying to be a hovercraft.
I like Jules's. Tonight he can sleep in the guest room.
Oh, we've got a guest room. Oh, fucking laddie da. In the east wing or the west wing. Got the spare room through there.
Oh, bless you.
He's melted the Wi-Fi. I've melted the seat.
Brings a whole new meaning to Wi-Fi, doesn't it?
It's now a commode.
Everybody does it.
Speak for yourself, mate. I'm not on farting terms.
Well, as my grandfather used to say, where you be like you're one gang free, and you can't hold what's not in your hand. See?
No mud, just farts. Coffee all over my monitor. Sorry, Bronco.
Hey, I could be wearing if I was wearing a thong with a whistle, right?
There'd be dogs all over the Glasgow howling.
Like part in the brown sea.
Easy, Moses.
Anywho.
Let's go off my intestinal problems, please.
Talking about things, puppy update.
She's doing grand.
Oh, brilliant!
She's I'll maybe post a video up on the Ohm Service live. She's attacking her brother. She's attacking her mother. So yeah, she's doing really good. Thanks.
Oh, brilliant.
What you're trying to say in a nice way is she's a bloody hooligan.
She's a nutcase. Honest to goodness, it was hilarious tonight. We've got a family of foxes that live kind of up there somewhere, and one of them always comes into the front garden, and Leia always takes a jump. She always runs from like the kitchen up onto the couch, up onto the back of the couch, and sits on the windowsill. So she did that tonight, and there's Ray. I mean, she's only that size, taking a run and trying to jump up onto the couch. I mean, there's a lot of gap about that. She just kept at the front of the couch. Oh, yeah, no, she's doing absolutely brilliant. So she is.
Oh, brilliant! That's fantastic to hear, mate.
So she's on. Don't get me wrong, she's still tiny, but she's on the mend. Thank you.
She's being fed at the moment.
So are you and Jules getting some sleep? That's the question.
Yeah, well, the now changing the routine. She'll be getting fed every 4 hours. So it means we're only getting up. Well, not so much me. It's Jules that does it all. I'm going to be honest with you. She gets up. She was getting up every 2 hours, and make sure she was fed, make sure she had her medication and that during the night. But it's now been cut down to 4 hours, so she only needs to get up once during the night. And then when I got up at work, I got up for work at 6. Then she'll get fed again, and get her medication, and that's it. So yeah, I think she's only got another 10 days on her antibiotics, and that's her done. Because that's her been on the antibiotics for nearly a month. So yeah, she's doing absolutely fantastic. So hopefully next week I'll be able to get her on screen to see just a bundle of fluff.
Mark H, that was meant to say totally agree. Can't even spell nowadays.
Totally.
Totally. Totally agree. You're right.
Yeah, I mean, Jesus, Stevie.
I forgot him.
Danny, fist bump. Nice to see you, kiddo.
Oh, bless. I mean, it's strange because, I mean, I didn't start on Mouth to Lung, so I missed the Aspire Nautilus.
I wish I was on Mouth to Lung instead of fucking...
I still say that the Nautilus BVC, the 1.6, still one of the best coils ever, especially for Mouth to Lung.
You're welcome, Fletch. I'm glad you're enjoying it, mate. Those coils fit so many tanks and AIs. They do. It's strange with the Nautilus because it was one of those. They just seemed to get the design right from the start, didn't they? And it's the granddaddy now.
Yeah, it's stood the test of time. The longevity of it's absolutely fantastic.
I mean, we literally sell them by bucket loads.
Well, that's the good thing because you've got a proven device that most vapors, hobbyists definitely have heard of. Most shops stock the coils. Most shops stock the device because it's the fallback, isn't it?
Yeah, and it goes in that many different devices as well.
So like your AIOs and your you can even get the bridges, can't you, for the...
You can get it for the billet box.
The billet box.
Yeah, billet box.
See,
Even
Pam's...
your billet box. Because I put in the billet box, I put the 0.7 ones, mesh ones in, which is the same size. And they're fantastic little coils, they are.
Oh, Bonnie's she puts hers in her Moolis kit.
Do you know something? Another blooming damn good kit, that. Moolis. Love the Moolis. Especially if you got them 0.7 ohm coils in. Really is nice. Which is rather nice, that. And the last thing is, though, they last ages as well.
Well, you've got such a low wattage running through it, haven't you? I mean, getting back to the film, I think what I found most interesting was there was nothing really new in it. You know, the bell jar experiment, we've all seen that one on YouTube. It was one that I used when I was trying to give the fags up, just to remind myself the crap that was going through my lungs.
Oh, yeah, totally.
You know, I mean, almost like aversion therapy, you know.
I mean, a lot of what they said in the documentary has already been said quite a few times. Mm-hmm. But I think it was the way that they put the whole thing together, where they covered it. And I thought that was the good bit. And it was... they explained whys, and then they explained the fors as well. And I thought that was very, very clever. Very simple, very easy and understandable.
Well, and this is it. The other thing was the bites. Nobody got 10 minutes on screen. Yeah, everybody that was in that film got, what, 2 minutes tops? If that, and then it swapped, and your interest went with it.
And Stuart, yeah, I do. I haven't used it for ages, but yes, I do. The Deja Vu D7.
Oh, God. I haven't seen your Deja Vu in a while.
I ain't used it for yonks.
Yeah.
I've been so like... On that, on my velocity, I'm either on that, I'm on my gross with the intake mouth to lung tank, and I'm also on my Hexohm with my arbiter on it. It's kind of roughly what I've been vaping, you know, on a regular basis.
I must admit, that Groose, what a cracking little sub 100 device that is.
Yeah, I mean, this one's the updated version with a different screen. It's the same screen as the Ursa.
All right.
So this is like version 0.2. But still absolutely cracking.
Oh, Stevie's puppies.
My fucking puppies.
You get them out and we'll never see Steve's face. Sorry, Jules. Love you.
Love you.
Oh, what a pair of crackers. And Mummy as well.
Crackers. Who shows your crackers?
Oh, it's not fair.
That's Ray there. So.
Oh.
One bite his nose.
Serious Dan, Hexohm are going quite strongly at the present moment. Well, besides obviously the weather, because in Texas it's been really bad. But yeah, they're still releasing stuff. They've been doing the Stabwood versions. They've been absolutely gorgeous, they have. Yep, Steam Crave is still going strong.
You've got his puppies out. Pam says she needs puppy cuddles.
Oh, me too. I'd love to get a puppy at the present moment.
I should be getting my doggy fix tomorrow night.
Ooh.
There's a gorgeous, gorgeous young lady who's waiting for a belly rub.
Oh,
I just found.
Dear Lord. Oh, no, that's it. Shame the fat lad.
I've put it away. He's in that cupboard there. Yeah. It's a cracking little device.
They got that the last Expo. I think it cost
Yeah, we
me
did, didn't we? Yeah.
I think it cost me a tenner.
Dear God.
Yeah, because you was working on the stand, weren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that got round rather quick. God, see, Stevie's working on the old toner stand. You'll get shit cheap.
Didn't happen.
Oh. Serious Dan's got a 4-month-old French bulldog sleeping on his lap. Me and Jan have been talking about getting a dog, but at the present moment, I don't know about you guys if you've heard any news about these blooming scammers going off.
Oh, it's horrendous.
Got to be so careful.
It's the buggers that are walking about putting cable ties on your gate, and then
marking
and breaking into your house and stealing your pets.
What world have we come to where we're stealing puppies?
Well, puppies to sell and all, so it's puppies for dog fighting and shit, isn't it? So,
Steve Charlton, good evening. Lovely to see you. First time here.
Fist bump.
I bet you ain't, Dan.
Well, Steve, I hope you caught the film at the start of the show, mate, because it was a cracker. It was an absolute brilliant one. If you didn't, just scroll back up chat, and there are links to the actual video because it's well worth a watch.
Or you can just rewatch this on the replay.
Well, you could do, yes, you could indeed. I've got a 41-year-old pit bull waiting for a dinner. She can't wait. I'm watching show. Fletch, you're a brave man.
So it's not often I shout this one out. We've got how many? We've got 64 people in chat at the present moment, and I've only got 25 likes. So if you all guys could actually like it, I would be really appreciative. The more you like the video, it helps with the analytics and all that kind of stuff. So obviously YouTube shows it to more people. So it does really help you. Putting the old thumbs up.
Only takes a second, guys.
And it's free. It will not cost you a penny just to click that like button.
Yeah, because I've just done it myself.
Stevie's just put, I've got a 75-pound American bulldog on my lap. Feel sorry for me. Jasper's gorgeous.
Jasper's cute as old. In fact, I think Jasper's becoming the Ohm Service mascot at the present moment.
Handsome devil he is. In his daily updates, it's fabulous. I must admit, first time Stevie put pictures of Jasper up, it was like, oh, I want one.
I know.
Oh, Liz, can you still focus, love?
Cheers, Bronco.
Oh, bless.
I like that one.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, the link's in the chat as well. I'll put it up before we leave. So if you want to share it out on your Facebook pages, feel free.
Yes, definitely.
Because the more interest we get in this video, the wider the audience. And it would be great to see all that hard work from the Yorkshire Cancer Research Group sort of being recognised by people, because there is some really good straight fact in that.
Yeah.
Floof time soon. Thank you, Mama.
Thanks, Mama.
Yes. The wee man and Aidan, Adam. Any guests this week?
Yeah, Matt Colley.
Yeah. Matt Colley.
SMV's on.
Wow. Yeah.
See, but we got Betty's hovercraft.
Tartan one. Powered by Haggis Wind.
And don't forget to check out our Aidan, and he's doing his 11th. It's March for. Is it March for March? I know it's 11,000 steps he's doing for prostate cancer.
Yep.
So please go and check my little brother out. He's been doing his channels. What's it? Urban LBV. It's been coming up in chat. So yeah, please go and check out my little brother that he's doing supporting Prostate Cancer UK.
Steve, do you have a... Yes, he does. He has a wonderful smile. We just can't let it loose that often because spontaneously combusting underwear across the country is scary.
Andy Summerfield. Betty, unplug the musical.
One section only.
I don't know. I think it was more brass.
Thanks, Raji. That's awesome. Betty, that brought all sorts of disturbing images to mind.
Take the piss out the fat kid, why don't you?
Stevie smiling is like Wednesday Addams smiling. Oh, Mr. Smith. That's a bit harsh.
Fuck you, Kevin.
I'm just smiling at what Vaping Pasties just put.
Dawn.
Dawn, I'm never going to be able to look at you. No, I can't. No.
That's the quiz for next week, folks. What colour are Dawn's eyes?
Gail put in earlier on regarding Rocky. Their dog, Rocky thinks that Gail's chair's his, and Gail's actually shoved off the chair, and she's literally sitting on about 2 inches at the edge, where Rocky's sitting right behind her.
Oh.
Love you too, Kevin.
Steve, you just put in might be a stupid question. No such thing as a stupid question, mate. If you've got one, just ask away.
Yeah, you definitely ask away.
As long as you put 5 on my G-string.
I'm not falling for that one again. He nearly blew my hand off last time.
Night, Gail. Take care.
Good night, Gail. Oh, bless. Yeah, I'm... Like we said, positivity. It's just so lovely to see.
It's a breath of fresh air, to be honest with you.
And it's been a long time coming.
Mm.
Yeah. The PHE was a cracker. And
yeah, the thing is, I mean, how long have they been... Or how long did it take to actually make that film?
Yeah.
Because obviously that's not just been for a response to what happened last week or the week before. That's probably been in the works for maybe a few months.
Oh, at least.
So
it's a fair point. You know, it was lovely that bit though that the guy from PHE was saying that they actually got grief because the e-cig reviews were repeating the same old stuff. Well, yeah. It's true, yeah.
I think it's about time that we had. You see that many paper articles that come out of positivity of vaping, which is great, but when you're actually seeing people from the industry that's actually talking about it, medical industry, actually talking about it on camera, I think it just gives you that little bit more legitimacy of what they're actually saying as well. I think that it just brings it across. But like I said before, it wasn't condescending at all. It was fact-based. It wasn't an opinion as such. It was just fact-based. This is what's been said. This is the actual reality. And I thought it was just so well put together.
And it was... don't get me wrong. I love seeing the bits about people's vaping journey. Yeah. But to put it where they did... So it wasn't ramming it down your throat halfway through, which is the mistake a lot of these films make. You know, it was just so well put together. I mean, what? The cancer research, that's one that's close to my heart. You know, lost first wife through it. And I know there's lots of people in chat who've been affected by it. It's such a horrible disease. And I'm going to be blunt. It was a major part of me why I wanted to stop smoking. Yeah. So
don't put it a good way. It put meat on the bones.
It does. Yeah.
It totally does. Yeah.
You know, it's interesting. I mean, there was one bit in there where it said Britain was lucky to have scientists that carried out proper research. I do hope the people at the University of Bath were watching that.
Yeah, definitely.
I really hope.
There was a few people spanked in that quiz.
Oh yes, but nicely.
But very nicely, very nicely, and very polite as well, and also very respectful. I thought, especially Mr. Who and Mr. Bloomberg.
Well, yeah, but I think that's the tack we should be taking. Yeah.
I mean, let's face it, you could put your opinion across and your disagreement with something, but you don't have to be nasty about it. You just have to be calm and collective and just put your point across.
Yeah, but have it based up with facts.
Yeah, of course, yeah. You've got to base it with the facts.
Yeah, not bullshit.
Well,
it's like what we said last week. I've said it God knows how many times. We've got to the stage now where the facts are blatantly obvious. The actual science that they are hankering after is there in black and white. It's there now. They've got no excuse, and that's the only reason why they use the emotional route of that's their only last resort.
Who was that, Matt?
Kick the baby.
Fuck your car, fuck off.
Dan's just put it nicely. I bet they didn't get paid as much as the University of Bath.
Oh, Stanton Glance, you might as well just get rid of that idiot. Does anybody listen to that fool?
I really hope he's handed in his pocket protector.
Yes, floof time, ladies and gentlemen. We are coming up to the end. I hope you've enjoyed the show, guys. I really do. It's I was well chuffed when I got in touch with Yorkshire Cancer Research and asked them if we could use the video, and they agreed to it. So I was really well chuffed with it. So I've enjoyed the show. So, floof time, floof. Floof.
I think I got Adam again. It's a good job I got big hands.
So, Betty, are you going to say your goodbyes?
Goodbye. Thanks again for joining us, guys. I know this one was a little bit different, but I think it had to be done. And yeah, please share this far and wide. Let's get the message out there, because we now have we've got the backing now from cancer charities. I mean, I know we had it in the past, but this one it's a doozy. So yeah, so thanks for joining us, guys. Same time, same place next week, maybe for something a little bit different. Well, it's maybe not a little bit, it's not as serious as it's been for the last 3 weeks. We'll maybe have something a little bit light-hearted for next week. And I might smile for a change. Then again, if Kevin Smith's in chat, fuck him, I'm not doing it. Steve.
Oh, cheers, you two. It's been a cracker tonight. I've thoroughly enjoyed that, and it's gone so quick. Chat, thank you so much for joining us. I hope that I know some of you in chat have already seen that and shared it. Those that hadn't already seen it and watched it for the first time tonight, I really hope you enjoyed it, because it is a cracker. As we said, if you can maybe just give it a quick share on your social media, it would be fantastic. I've just popped it up now. So, guys, honest, It's lovely doing this every week. It's like meeting up with the family.
It is.
Yeah, a deranged one.
I know, but he's fab. Dion, thank you so much. That was such a lovely comment you put up earlier. Kev, I'm not sure if he worked on the Smash advert, but it's a possibility.
I like mashed potato.
They peeled them with their metal knives.
Those potatoes, precious.
Bless you. So I'm going to hand you over to Mark. So, Gaffer, take it away.
Well, before anything else, I just want to give Yorkshire Cancer Research a big shout out and say thank you very much for tonight's show, because without them, there wouldn't have been exactly quite the show. Steve, Betty, thank you so much, and you guys in chat have been absolutely awesome. You really have. I've thoroughly enjoyed it tonight, and I'm well chuffed that OBS worked all right and YouTube worked all right as well. So, like, my bum was a little bit squeaky, I've got to admit. So, I'm glad everything went all right.
Mine wasn't.
His was wet and wild.
Yeah. Wet and breezy.
I think it's more than oboe.
So before you do leave, if you could share the video, that would be absolutely fantastic. If you could give it a thumbs up, that would be absolutely awesome as well. We will be back here next week, 7:30 Thursday, with some more interesting shenanigans and lots of huggles, because we didn't do many huggles this week. So there'll be lots more extra huggles for next week. So from Betty, BFG and myself, I wish you all a good night. Good night.
Bye.
Outro. Back up.
You sunk my battleship.
I never laid a finger on it.